Good evening and welcome to Crime Watch with me, Kirsty Reid and Raf.
I think you'll find, Kirsty, that's the Raf to you. Today's programme, ladies and gents, is all about the latest revelations in a murder spree that is hitting London's East End. It's being dubbed the Jack the Ripper killings.
We'll be going over to the phone line shortly, but first of all some information on the latest murder spree to hit our capital. Here we can see a map of the East End of London. The latest murders have taken place. And whilst the victims of these murders may all be prostitutes, it's time that this man was caught. Indeed, even the government has started to take an interest.
Absolutely, and that's before the events that took place in this very building earlier today, Kirsty.
Indeed, today we received this letter, which was apparently written by the murderer himself.
In this letter, the murderer, who refers to himself as Jack the Ripper, goes into great detail about some of the crimes he's committed, and in fact goes on to predict further murders being carried out very, very shortly. The police are treating this very, very seriously and have put everyone on high alert. But just who is this mysterious Jack the Ripper? We've compiled a 5 most wanted suspects board. And if you have any information on any of the men on this board, then please call us now on 0800 555 620 or the email address or website appearing now at the bottom of your screen. So, could Sickert be the man we're looking for? Well, joining me today in the studio is Inspector Hazeley, Chief Inspector at New Scotland Yard, and the man in charge of the Jack the Ripper case. Thank you for joining us, Inspector.
Not at all, thank you for having me.
So, is Walter Sickert a high police suspect, or is he just another innocent man being pursued by the media?
Well, he's not a man that we're taking particularly seriously at New Scotland Yard. The lack of motive seems to be a big stumbling block for us. Actually, it does seem to me, that there is a big media frenzy out there trying to find the least likely suspect. For example, some people even talking about the Queen's physician as being a suspect. I mean, that guy's half paralysed.
Well, if we dismiss some of the more unlikely candidates, who does that actually leave us with?
Well, one name that springs to mind is Dr. Tumblety.
This would be the American doctor who recently avoided arrest at his lodging house in the East End.
That's right, we sent some policemen round after a tip-off from his landlady. Apparently he turned up quite late after the night of one of the murders. But once we got there, he'd already gone.
Didn't you find some, how do I put this, body parts at his address?
That's true, I can confirm the rumours. When we went into his address, we did find some wounds. Now we're still trying to ascertain whether they are the wounds of the missing ladies.
Surely this is a bit open and shut. I mean, the man collects wounds. He's a nutter. Case closed, surely.
I wish that policing could be that simple. We've still got a vast array of suspects to consider. But we will be having a press conference later in the week to give you our latest updates.
We shall look forward to the update. Inspector Hazeley, thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
And now we're going over to our phone lines, which have been red hot already this evening, many indicating that our next suspect might be involved, one Montague Druitt.
been so thoughtless. I can see right through you. You used to be there for me. Don't you leave and say goodbye. You have changed, but so have I. Guilty, oh, guilty. I feel so empty, yeah.
So, could Druitt have done it? I'm joined now by Julia Dunnett, our criminologist. Welcome to the show, Julia.
Thanks. I have to say, I'm just not convinced by this case against Druitt. I really just don't think he had the motive to do it.
But could he possibly have carried out these attacks?
Well, it's true that some people thought he was very unstable. I mean, he was deeply unhappy and he just lost his job. But angry enough to kill? I think that's unlikely because he was living outside of London, and so I don't think he would have had the knowledge he needed to carry out these attacks.
So, Druitt doesn't take your fancy then, but how about our next suspect, one George Chapman?
No sleep until I'm done with finding the answer. Won't stop before I find a cure for this cancer. Sometimes I feel like going down and so disconnected. Somehow I know that I'm haunted to be wanted. I've been watching, I've been waiting in the shadows for my time. I've been searching, I've been living for tomorrows all my life. In the shadows, in the shadows. They say that I must learn to kill before I can feel safe. But I'd rather kill myself than turn into their slave. Sometimes I feel that I should go and play with the thunder. Somehow I just don't wanna stay and wait for a wonder. I've been watching, I've been waiting in the shadows for my time. I've been searching, I've been living for tomorrows all my life.
And now we go over to our crime correspondent, Diane Weir, who has with her an eyewitness to the possible Ripper murderer.
Wow.
Thanks, Kirsty. I'm joined here by Catherine, who has already come forward and given a statement to Inspector Abilene and his team. So, what was your involvement with the killing?
Well, I was walking home from work late one night, and the night of the most recent murder, and I believe I may have seen the Ripper.
Oh, and what made you think it was him?
Well, I'd already been alerted to a scream from an alleyway across the street, and so I hid by a nearby wall until I saw him walk away.
And what did you do next?
Well, I didn't dare look up until a couple of minutes later, until I was sure that he had sort of walked off in a hurry.
Now, as we've heard tonight, there's quite a few names floating around about who this could be. Do you have any idea to this person's identity?
Well, it was really dark, so my view is less than perfect, but he seemed to be medium-sized man, white man, in his mid to late 20s.
Okay, any idea on what he was wearing, how he was dressed?
Well, he looked like he was really dishevelled, like he'd been in a struggle of some sort. Clothes were very basic, dark hair, that's all I can really make of him.
And can you think of anything else you could add to help our investigation so the viewers at home can help us find this killer?
Not really, but for a man in a hurry, he seemed really calm. It was eerie.
Eerie. Thanks for your time.
And to help jog memories of those fateful attacks, have a look at this reconstruction of the latest wicked murder.
Suspect then?
Yeah, absolutely, Kirsty. We've already received a lot of phone calls about this man, and that tells us one thing. The public think he needs watching. But is he actually Jack the Ripper, or just another dangerous criminal on our streets?
Well, motive seems to be the only concern for me, really. After all, although he's murdered his wives, what's he got against prostitutes?
Well, thank you for that, Julia, and that's all we've got time for tonight. Thank you for all of your phone calls. All of the information we received tonight will be handed over to Inspector Aberlane and his team, and any information that received will of course be treated with the utmost confidence. We are confident that we will be able to catch Jack the Ripper because of your involvement this evening. We can only ever do these things with your support. So thank you and good night.
And of course, sleep tight.
And